Hello and good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. If you're wondering where Jen is, she is currently on vacation right now, and I'm subbing in for her. If you don't know me, my name is Jade. I do the weather, but today we are here with our lovely friend, Ashlyn, and she is the choir director for the JHS choir. So we will be getting to really fun and interesting stuff right after this message.
Would you like to work closer to home, save money on gas, and be rewarded for your hard work and attendance? Then Bellisio Foods is looking for you. That's right, Bellisio Foods is now hiring for multiple positions and shifts with great employee benefits, an on-site health clinic, competitive wages, and advancement opportunities. Bellisio Foods is a company that truly values their employees. Apply online at belisiofoods.com/careers.
Hello, welcome back, everyone. As I said, we are here with Ashlyn. Ashlyn, are you able to introduce yourself and tell them what you do?
Yeah, so I am Ashlyn Culbertson. I am the choir director for Jackson Middle School and Jackson High School.
So what inspired you to become a choir director, and what do you love most about it?
I actually didn't even join choir until I was a junior in high school, and I joined because I had taken some singing lessons before that, and I really liked singing, and I got coaxed into being into choir. And I really enjoyed the community of it and getting to know a lot of people in a really big group and making music with people. And it's just a really nice sense of being together and making something great with other people. And that's also what I love most about it, that I still get to continue to do that every single day. Is really, really big blessing to me.
How many years have you been a choir director?
Well, this is I would say, my fourth year of being a choir director. I've been teaching for 5 total years, and I taught elementary school music at a different school for a while. But this is only my second year teaching at Jackson.
Ooh. Okay, I understand that you said that your group is middle schoolers. That is a very rambunctious bunch.
There's never a dull moment, that's for sure.
Yeah. Definitely not. How has the choir grown and evolved over the years?
Well, it has, obviously, I've only been there for 2 years, but I've been able to watch it grow, having been a part of the choir when I was in school as well, and staying involved. It was really, really big when I was in high school, and then obviously when COVID happened, there was a little bit of a dip, and it's building back up. In the past 2 years, we've seen a little bit of a rise in the numbers, so that's exciting. The amount of choirs that we've had has undergone a little bit of changes too in the past. We've gone from having 3 choirs to 2 choirs to some different arrangements of voices. So,
what are the biggest challenges and the biggest rewards that you've had from directing?
Well, the biggest challenge is that it's just a big job. You're constantly going. I have 4 choirs throughout the day, and I teach some general music classes at the middle school as well. I also help with the musical, so it's a lot to do, and it's a lot of planning every single day and a lot of being on top of things. But the biggest reward is just seeing the outcomes of working, all your hard work that you put in for each concert, and then being able to just kind of celebrate all that hard work when you're doing your performances and seeing how it impacts other people.
Yeah, really completely. Cool. And along with that, do you have a memorable or funny moment? Because I know you probably definitely do, especially with a rambunctious group.
Oh yeah, those middle schoolers, they're pretty crazy. They are one of the most memorable moments, and it happens at every concert, but it always sticks out, is just how much energy they have before the concert. They're got all this nervous energy, and they always say just the funniest stuff. They ask the most ridiculous questions. They forget how to sing or how to stand or how to move, and that's always just really funny to it by now that I'm just we have a concert. But from their perspective, and then during the concert, they're nervous, but they're excited, and then afterwards, that's always my favorite moment, is just the afterwards of the concert, celebrating everything. So
it's always really exciting. I joined choir in middle school. I stopped because I'm not the most talented in choir, but that's okay. My specialty is this stuff. But at the time, even though I wasn't very good, I did enjoy it, and it was always a very sweet group of people, very supportive group of people, and I absolutely love that. And can you tell us about any upcoming performances or like special events going on.
So I actually wrote these down because I knew I'd forget. We have our next concert coming up in just a couple weeks on March 6th.
Ooh.
So that's a high school choirs only concert. So we'll have 2 choirs performing and our a cappella group, Act Natural. And that's at the middle school at 7 on March 6th. The next day, we have our judged performance where we go to Shawnee State and compete for a score. Symphonic choir will be going to that. That is March 7th, Friday, usually in the evening at Shawnee State. And then, shameless plug here, we have on March 28th through 30th, we have our performances of Newsies for the Drama Club. And then May 9th is our final concert of the year. That's middle school and high school. So there's about 5 total groups performing at that concert.
Wow.
That's May 9th at 7. So that pretty much finishes out our year.
Oh, wow. I cannot believe that it's already the new year and it's just like already rounding up.
Really
like I'm a
fast.
senior, I'm about to graduate, and I can't handle it. I actually can't.
I'm
Like,
surprised it's not going really slow. I feel like my senior year was just like, seriously.
I know, like mine is going so quickly. Like the first semester is already done. And do you only teach and direct middle schoolers, or do you also do the high schoolers?
I also do the high school. Yep. Middle school
That's a
and high
very
school.
different age group. How's that?
Yeah, it's a lot. I think it's I have high school in the morning, which I don't know if that's better or worse. I don't know. But middle school in the evening, like end of the school day, last period of the day is pretty crazy.
Yeah, I don't know if that would be better or worse because I feel like middle schoolers have always such high energy. It very similar to middle schoolers, or very similar to like elementary schoolers with energy wise, but just a little. Just different.
Yeah.
Middle schoolers are definitely one of a kind, and not in a mean way. I love middle schoolers. I have a middle school cousin that I see all the time. But can you how do you select the songs for the choir? What styles do you focus on?
I try to go back and forth on styles and do a lot of different varieties of things. Usually, I'll choose like a theme for each concert to just sort of help me narrow it down. And then I'll go from there. It has a lot to do with the different voices that are involved. Like some of the choirs are able to sing like 4-part harmony and some are not quite there yet. So they get 2 parts or 3 parts and we try to mix it up. So every concert we try to do for each group like a slower, more meaningful song or something more emotional, and then we also try to add in some upbeat songs as well. Just whatever we're going for that particular concert. Usually our spring concert's a little bit more upbeat and fun because it's the end of the school year. So just depends on what we're doing.
Is there a fan favorite among the kids?
Like a song?
Yeah.
They do have a lot of favorites. It just depends on the kid. There's not really like a particular song, but they do like any song that they hear on the radio that they like to sing. They're like, can we please sing this in choir? Like right now it's, what do they want? Fiend? Constantly. Like, yeah. Can we please sing Fiend? I'm like, no. You can talk it. It's not really that much singing though.
Like, that... Fiend. What an interesting choice.
Yeah.
Like, fascinating.
Just any popular song, they're just ready to go.
Just like the most mainstream songs, they're just like, we want this now. It just changes, and it changes like every week too. The mainstream song.
Yep.
So you just get bombarded with like a
time.
bunch of random
Every day.
songs. But what opportunities do choir students have beyond the classroom?
So the choir, they get a lot of opportunities through local colleges. So they get to do some honor choirs. There's one at OU, Otterbein. There's the All-State Choir. There was a choir invitational at OU this year and last year that we went to. So they get a lot of opportunities to perform outside of the classroom and attend things that are not sort of their typical day-to-day opportunities to sing. So there's quite a few of those.
Is it bittersweet? Like, do you have any seniors in your choir?
Yep.
Is it like bittersweet that they're like leaving?
It is. Last year, like those seniors, they were just a really great group of kids. It was my first year with them, so we were kind of getting to know each other for a while, and we do miss them a lot. And it gets harder every year that I'm with these kids. So the seniors this year I will have had for 2 years, and we're already like Getting a little emotional thinking about them leaving. So
Like thinking about it, like it's gonna be even more crazy, like seeing those middle schoolers in high school. Like we don't even want to think about that. We don't even want to think about
putting that one off.
But how does music education benefit students beyond learning to sing?
Oh, I could go on for hours on this one, but I won't, I promise. So music education is I mean, it's imperative to your learning. It involves math, it involves language, it involves reading skills, communication, building relationships. It's so many things other than just singing. Like, honestly, singing is just the tip of the iceberg of what we do every day. We're constantly talking through the meanings of our texts and the meanings of the different things musically that we have and learning a lot of different skills and a lot of different lessons. There's also history with all the pieces that we sing, some of the poems and the poets, the composers. There's so much that goes into it just beyond singing that it's very, very, very important to these kids in their learning. So.
I understand you said that you started in junior year. Okay, so you were slightly younger than me when you started.
Yeah.
Very much more musically talented than me. But but like, what advice would you give to your younger self, like once you just started and like where you are now?
I just wish I would have started earlier because I just ended up loving it so much that I don't know why I wasn't a part of it earlier. I wish I would have been, but it was an immediate decision too. Like I joined choir and then immediately I was like, well, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. So just like if something interests you, you just never know where it's going to take you. So, I mean, try everything. That's what I would tell my younger self.
Definitely.
Do it sooner.
Like, and since you had that same like immediate spark once you joined it, do you see that in other students of where they just have that absolute spark and love for it? And like, do you like, I would, like me personally, I would just feel so like proud of like what it has become and like myself and the entire group. If I saw like one of my students, obviously I don't have a student, but hypothetically speaking, if I saw one of my students have that same love and spark, I would just get complete deja vu. How do you feel like when that happens?
It is so nice. I always say that like teaching at the high school level is like teaching, and even at the middle school level sometimes, it's like teaching myself.
Yeah.
Like I see a lot of myself in those kids. Like basically I remember standing where they were and I remember doing the things that they're doing and like I get to see them experience those things for the first time every day or for the, 1 millionth time. But that's the cool part about choir is like every day is different. You're not doing the same thing 2 days in a row. Every day is something new, and to see them kind of experience that same feeling that I had is really special for sure.
And I know we already talked about like memorable moments and stuff, and it's hard to pick one, but do you have a memorable performance that has happened?
As a teacher?
Yes.
Or as a student?
As a teacher. Or both. I don't mind.
Yeah, so we got to go last year to the Ohio University Choir Invitational. And that was really cool. The kids got to perform on the big stage there, and they got to...
I'd be nervous.
Yeah, it was very nervous. That's why it's memorable. But they got to sing for a couple, like, professional, like, collegiate choir directors, and they got some feedback on that. And it was just a really fun performance because it was really the first time that I had conducted on such a large stage. So that was really a memorable one.
I bet you were nervous too, even a little bit. I would have been peeing my pants. I would have been so nervous. But like, how long ago was that? When was that?
That was about this time last year.
Okay. I would not be able to like I'm already nervous enough doing this. Like I've gotten my nerves down mostly, but I can't imagine. I cannot imagine. But
I definitely get nervous.
But what role does the choir play in the school and the local community?
Our choir has a really big role in the community, especially around like Christmas time. We have like an endless number of events that we get asked to do, and in fact, we have to turn a lot of them down just because we just get asked to do so much. Like we go caroling, we perform at nursing homes and different events around town for that. And then within the school, we sing at like Veterans Day. We sing for we have a group that sings the national anthem for basketball games. We sing at graduation and senior assembly and senior breakfast. So they're very involved around the school. So.
Yes. And that's great. And like, how have you seen like starting and seeing these kids in high school, and then as they're like growing for these past like 2 years, how have you seen them completely bloom and get out of their shell?
Oh my gosh, yeah, definitely. And it's so special to see, because there's kids that I have seen, and as a teacher, you're always able to see hopefully more in your students than they can see in themselves, and that's kind of your job to encourage that. And being able to see these students kind of come out of their shell and try new things. And we have students who you never think would audition for a solo, and then suddenly they do. And it's just, that's really, really, really cool to see these kids blossom in that way.
How do you make the classroom like your own classroom? How do you like differentiate yourself from other choir directors, like your own individuality when teaching?
I like to just sort of be myself. I think that's the easiest way to relate to the students and make everything a good time. I'm goofy, and I think I probably didn't mature past the age that they are. So we have a very similar sense of humor, and we get along really well. So I think that just keeping like a lighthearted attitude. Choir's a special thing because it's not like a normal classroom. Like you don't sit at a desk and do work. You're up and moving. You're doing something different. So keeping it along those lines of keeping it different and fun is something that's really important.
I love that. And like, I know some teachers, I'm not calling out any, I swear guys, but like, I know some teachers don't have that like lightheartedness. They just go full on serious. They are the teacher, you are the student. But I really like when teachers like you do find that balance, and it makes students, because I am a student, it makes students very comfortable, and it feels like we can talk to you more, and not even about like choir stuff or like school stuff, like personal stuff where we can feel like we can confide to you. So I really love and respect that you have your own individuality with it and have all these students feel so comfortable with you. And what advice would you give students interested in joining choir?
Just do it. Join. You don't, I mean, like you said, you joined choir even though you weren't maybe the best singer at the time, or maybe you did see improvement. There's a spot for everybody.
Yes.
You don't have to be the best singer. You don't have to be even good. You know, that's why you join. You don't join something just because you're the best at it. You join to get better at it. And so we have a spot for everybody. We have groups where you have to audition to get in. We have groups where you can just join and everybody's welcome. At the middle school level, we have 7th and 8th grade choir, which anybody can join. At the high school, we have a concert choir, which anybody can join. And then we have our symphonic choir, which is an audition group. And those auditions usually happen around the end of the school year. So around scheduling time, we try to do those. So anybody can join. And I mean, if you like to have a good time and you want to break from sitting in the classroom all day, choir's a really great place for you.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you would like to tell everyone before we head out?
Just a reminder to attend our concert on March 6th at 7 o'clock at the JMS Auditorium to hear some really great music and to send us off to our large group judging the next day. So, yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on with us. It was a very good pleasure. It was very nice talking to you. You were so easy to talk to, and I love it. Well, thank you for coming on, and we will see you guys right after this.
At Vinton County National Bank, we believe in supporting the areas where we live and work. Now, we'd like to honor those who also serve our communities. Our new Community Champions account is especially for first responders, veterans, active military, and anyone employed in the fields of healthcare or education. This account offers rewards, discounts, and other benefits to those who give so much to others. Vinton County National Bank, rewarding those who serve.
Saturday, August 16th is Southern Rock Woodstock in the Gallipolis Fairgrounds. This event will feature 3 decades of such as Lynyrd Skynyrd, 38 Special, and Molly Hatchet. In light of this event, Total Media will be giving away 4 VIP tickets. For a chance to win these exclusive passes, comment your favorite Southern rock song, and our staff will vote on which one is the best. Good luck, and may the best man rock out.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen and fans of Jackson sports all throughout Southeast Ohio. Tonight, this is Dan Morrow along with Pete Wilson, and we're going to bring to you Jackson Ironman basketball as they take on the rival, the Waverly Tigers. A lot of tradition between these two schools, and it's so good to have them on the schedule.
Right. goes back a long ways and really in a lot of sports, both boys and girls. Waverly just down the road about a half hour on the Appalachian Highway. You think that these teams should be playing each other in about every sport in a non-league situation. Of course, remember Waverly and Jackson used to be in the same league, so that makes them even closer. A lot of these kids know each other, family relationships across the county line and so forth. So this is a natural non-conference rivalry, always exciting.
Oh, yeah, no question about it. The history of Jackson taking on Waverly in basketball, the Carol Hahi days. We go back when they were in the SEOAL, and that happens to be in our era of taking on those Waverly teams. Probably some of the very best Waverly teams in the history of Waverly basketball in that area. John Shoemaker and many great players that played for Waverly through the years. But they have had some very special basketball teams. Tonight, it is a Waverly team that is in infant stages. This is a very, very young Waverly basketball team that is touching their potential. But wow, they have an opportunity to be very good as the next couple seasons transform.
Right, and Dan, they come into this game kind of a little bit on a downslide. They've lost their last 4. They're 7-11, but they've had some high points this season, and they've played a pretty tough schedule. Was looking at their schedule and their scores. Some of their losses have been to teams as good as South Webster, Minford, of course, undefeated Miami Trace. They lost by 2 points to the Panthers. They came about as close to them as the Ironmen did here about a week ago.
That's an 18-0 Panther team, a 1-loss South Webster team, a 1-loss Minford team,
a 3-loss Zane Trace team. Yep. They lost to them too.
Absolutely.
So a very high potential Waverly team with a little bit of a deceiving record there. 7-11. A lot of their losses have been close, and it's a long season. You have your ups and downs, and when you're a young team, maybe even more so.
Oh, absolutely. Pete Wilson, tonight we don't actually have the live Coach Max Morrow pregame show, so we want to give a shout out to its sponsors, Schuert Folks Insurance. They do so many sponsoring things. How about this? They're double duty tonight. They sponsor the pregame show for both Coach Carpenter and Coach Morrow all season long. They are the game ball sponsor tonight. That is very special. Monroe's Collision, longtime sponsor for our football hit of the week type awards. They are the sponsors for both Coach Carpenter and the pregame show with Coach Morrow. So we're going to do the pregame show, and we're going to cheat because we get a lot of information from Coach Morrow, obviously, on his scouting. But the Jackson Ironmen coming off a really hard-fought victory last night. We had an FAC matchup at Washington Courthouse. People that have followed the season remember when Washington Courthouse came to Jackson not that long ago. The victory was a 30-29 grinded out head-to-head battle when we beat the Blue Lions here. So what did we expect going over to Washington Courthouse? Another dogfight. They are one of those teams in our league. Very good basketball team, but their overall record is 8-12 and now 3-6 within the league. But our league is very difficult. And Courthouse last night came out and they were ahead 17-15 at halftime. Now the Ironmen did play very well and much better the second half. We outscored Courthouse 23-12 in the second half to come away with a 38-29 point victory. That puts Jackson 14-5 on the season and 7-2 within the Frontier Athletic Conference.
Right, and one of the things I know that people close to the program, Coach Morrow, the fans, you and I were aware of it, very important for tournament seeding too, the way it's done this year with the RPI, the Ratings Percentage Index. Jackson was sitting in the number 2 spot, lost a little bit of ground in that loss to Zane Trace Unioto, a very good Unioto team sitting number 3. They won on Friday night. A loss to Washington Courthouse. You don't know if those teams are going to change. The significance of that, you get a bye if you're number 2. If you're number 3, you've got to play a first-round game.
Well, the brackets are not set. They will be set tomorrow afternoon, but the last games that counted were at midnight last night. So right now, unless really something strange happens, Jackson will hold on to the number 2 seed within our district, the Southeastern Division 4 district. The number 1 seed will go to Meigs, who's been outstanding all year. We lost to Meigs on their home court. I think they are 18-1 on the season. So they are the deserved number 1 seed. We're the number 2 seed. What does that mean? We get a bye into what you would call nowadays a district semifinal matchup. We will probably play the winner of the 7-10 winner in the bracket. they right now look to be Waverly and Washington Courthouse, two of our most recent games we're going to play.
On the boys' side, the boys did not win the FAC title. However, Grant Kennedy and Braden McGinnis both were individual champions. So Coach Brandon Oliver's done a great job with that program, and they're coming into, their postseason as well.
Well, it's interesting in June. June is a big basketball month, so I'm down here most evenings, it seems like.
All righty, T-Fred and T-Dog back here, and Hank doing a little stat work for us on the side. Hayden Milliken. Now, that being said, T, we always say first time, the first quarter, the start of the game, the end of the half, the start of the third quarter, and how we finish. Now, Jackson is smaller than us. They're probably quicker. They're guard-oriented. They got 2 or 3 good scores in the Jenkins and Woodard and Wolford, and also the leg boy who transferred in from Piketon. Hopefully we'll use our size tonight. And
That's what we got to do. We got to utilize our height.
Well, I do know that just for the grapevine, they have trouble against zone defenses. So hopefully the Tigers will come out tonight and play a little bit of zone, play that amoeba zone I like.
Hey, I like that too. It goes from 1-2-2 to 2-3. It just kind of varies all over the floor. I like it, but we got to stay active out of it too.
Yep, got to stay.
If we don't stay active, then they're going to get easy buckets out of it.
Well, and our guys shooting the ball, we've got to come out of the gate shooting better.
Well, and here's another thing, Fred. We can't get in foul trouble.
Right.
I mean, Cage picked up 2 quick fouls on him last night. That hurt. And we need to score. I mean, we got to have some shots to start falling for. Stuff's got to start going our way a little bit.
Well, let's hope. But, they say defense wins championships, but let's face it, you got to put the ball in the hole, too.
Yes, you do.
Oh, go ahead.
I mean, you can hold them as many times as you want, but if you don't score on your end, you're not going to win.
Got that right. Again, sponsorship coming up for tournament play as the girls will start next week on Wednesday night. They'll go 2 games on Wednesday night and then 2 games on Thursday night. We'll talk more about that later. But if you want to jump on the sponsorship bandwagon, give Chris Bartleson a call, 740-947-2166 or 947-2167, or Jeff General Davis at 740-708-7941. With that being said, we're going to take another quick break as we got about 1:50 before we get the national anthem and the starting lineup for tonight's game between the Jackson Ironmen and the Waverly Tigers. Back in a few. All righty, back here for the Bowyer Funeral Home post-game wrap-up show. Tough loss, 59-45 for the Tigers. T, before we go over stats, your thoughts on the game?
It was a very good game. It's just missed opportunities for it.
Yeah.
We had many stops where we could at least tie the game up when we was down there a little bit, but just like I said, you said it too, it's missed opportunities.
Yeah, can't have those empty possessions. Hank, you was with us for the whole game. What were your thoughts on it?
Well, I have to say, first and foremost, the Jackson Ironmen, offensively, defensively, they look really good tonight. And, of course, Waverly, there were times they had a hard time getting buckets in. We'll have some stats here in a moment. Of course, Waverly at the end here, I know they had a few more rebounds than Jackson did at the end of the day. Still neck and neck. Unfortunately, it just wasn't enough for the Waverly Tigers to pick up a win here tonight. So hopefully I'd like to see some of these things be improved upon, of course, going ahead. I know we're pretty close to tournament now, and some of these mistakes you just can't afford to have again.
Yep, tournament draw will be Sunday, and I'll do my stats first, and I'll go with Trey and then over to Hank. With that being said, score by quarters 18-13, Jackson after 1, 34-21, Jackson at the half, 45-31, Jackson after 3, and again your final 59-45. Jackson Ironmen were led by Bodie Wolford with 21 points, and 9 of those came from the free throw line. Ryan Simons with 11. He had 3 3-pointers in the first half. He did not score in the second half. 7 for Garrett Legg. He had a 3-ball. 5 for Stephen Jenkins. He had a 3-ball. 9 for Charlie Woodard. He had a 3-ball. 4 for C.J. Crabtree off the bench, and Jackson Carroll with 2 points. If I can talk, as my throat's getting kind of bad. With that being said, for the Tigers, Cage Alexander led with 13. All those, 10 of those in the second half. 11 for Tegan Hurt, 10 for Landon Russell, 9 for Sawyer Myers, 2 for Cam Humphreys. We had 2 3 balls by Landon Russell, 2 by Cage Alexander, 2 by Tegan Hurt. T-Dog, your turn.
Okay, I'm going to give you Jackson's stats first. They had 18 team rebounds.
And you talk about a big challenge, Joe, if we win that, because the winner of that takes on number 1 seed Portsmouth.
Well, one game at a time.
That's
and then
right.
Also Thursday night, we got the big travel over to Crown City, South Gallia, as the Lady
down
Indians.
along the river, isn't it, Fred?
The Lady Indians play South Gallia, and that'll be a 7 o'clock tip-off on those games. We're off for boys until Friday. We had to travel to the mighty Memphis Falcons, but tomorrow is the tournament draw, so we'll have some stuff out with that. And Hank?
And as for me, talking about boys' games, my next one is going to be on Tuesday night on WXCQ. Me and Ryan will have that one as the Red Streaks, for their last game of the regular season, travel to Portsmouth West to take on the Senators.
Yep.
You guys have been over there, so you know a thing or two about those guys.
Yeah, they're pretty solid. Now, they lost one of their players due to eligibility reasons, but they're still pretty solid, and you'll see a 1-3-1 zone, I guarantee it.
Yeah, you'll see it most of the game.
Well, definitely excited to call that one, and it's just been a fun ride this year. So one last outing, and then, of course, we'll have the tournament draw. Piketon looks like they could potentially have a home seed through a play, and we'll know tomorrow.
45 over the Waverly Tigers. We're now joined with Coach Max Morrow. Congratulations. Last broadcast, this wasn't as much fun after we had the 2 in a row loss, and it was Zane Trace with the loss. But, boy, did your kids bounce back for this weekend?
We did, and, that's kind of what we talked about in the locker room there, how it takes a tough team and a team that should be tournament ready after a heartbreaking defeat at Miami Trace. It's hard for any team, let alone, to bounce back from a buzzer beater. We played so hard and spent so much energy after a very tough week anyways, where you're coming off an emotional win at Unioto, Hillsboro, and then go to Miami Trace and lose the way we did on the last second. And then to come Tuesday and kind of not have the same energy that we've always had. And they shot it really well, tip my hat to Zane Trace. They played very well that night, but we just didn't have the same juice that we've had throughout the season. And then to come back and have the weekend that we've had, it wasn't pretty at times. It wasn't easy, especially we've been battling the flu. We've got guys out there playing sick. We got guys playing injured. And it just shows it's a true team win tonight. I thought our bench played a big part in what we did tonight. We had big minutes off the bench, got into a 7-man rotation that really helped us.
CJ had good minutes for you
CJ
tonight.
Crabtree played really well tonight after not being able to see him in the JV game because he got poked in the eye and his eye swelled shut. So the best trainer around, Jason Crawford, gets him taken care of.
They didn't rock him, did they, with the razor blade? I hope not. Okay.
Luckily, it was just cut under there and swelled up. We iced it, and he opened it enough to play. He's still one eye probably, but I thought he played big off the bench. Jax Carroll came in and gave great minutes, and just we need that because we when you're running 6 or whatever in the schedule that we've had with 3-game weeks consecutive, back-to-back weeks in a row, it's tough on your body, mentally and physically.
Oh, no question about it. First half last night, we're down 17-5. Second half, you had to be very proud of. We didn't get to talk about this one, but it was a Frontier Athletic Conference win. We come back after being down at halftime and outscore Courthouse 23-12 the whole second half.
Yeah, it was a big second half. Anytime you can hold anybody to 6 points a quarter, it's really good defense. I thought our guys were engaged. Obviously, any road win in the FAC, we talk about all the time how important it is, but it was just a grinded out war. Holding them to 29 points is a very great defensive, task at hand. But then, grinding out 38 big ones, and, that was enough to win the game. Just like tonight, I thought scoring came a little bit easier to start the game. But, man, Waverly didn't quit. We had them in a spot where I thought we could have just, buried them. And, we got a little loose with it at time, had a couple timely turnovers. But our effort and energy was still there fighting through. We had a couple guys get up at 6 a.m. to take the ACT this morning after getting home at 11:30 last night from Courthouse. So, it's just these guys are tough. I'm proud of them. I understand Tuesday night wasn't our best effort. We know that. We talked about it. And they're ready, 15-5 record. They've earned that record. they're playing hard, they're playing together, and hopefully our best basketball still is ahead of us. With the season winding down.
How about Ryan Simets? That the first quarter hits his jump shots, but that one at the buzzer at the end of the first quarter, that was Darius Garland material there.
Well,
for Cavs fans, if you're a Cavs fan.
It's just like that. He hit one at the end of the first quarter at half, right inside of half court, hit one. We're killing the clock at the end of the second quarter and hits one. And then how heads up play is Steven Jenkins to steal the inbounds and get two
Fabulous.
more points. It's just those are type of plays by kids that have played a lot of varsity basketball now. They're starting to understand, yeah, you can coach them so much, but they still have to realize it, and it still has to be game time decision making at a spur of the moment play, and they're starting to get it and really playing well. So I'm just.
You talked about injury, sickness. Steven Jenkins has both those. He's banged up and he's been sick. He only had 2 points. They were critical because they came with 1.6 seconds to go before half. But what he did vision-wise with assists and rebounds was huge tonight, not playing at 100%.
No, he obviously wasn't, and I respect the heck that he was even out there because a lot of guys would have just sat this one out and been okay with it. But he wanted to be there for his team. He knows that, if the RPI's kind of set, we think it is the way it should be when it comes out tomorrow, the tournament draw, that we're going to play the winner of Waverly and Courthouse. So he wanted to make sure that we didn't want to give them, any thought that they were going to come on our home court and beat us. Obviously it'll be at a neutral site game, in the tournament, but I tip my hat to him. That's a lot of respect to go out because I was up here earlier in the day with him, and he was in the ice bath and he was trying to rehab and Jason Crawford, can't say enough good things about him doing what he does for our student athletes. But, Steven, that takes a lot of courage and effort to get through that because he was not 100% and you could see it, but still made a lot of big plays to help us win the game. And going back to Ryan, obviously we're not in any way, shape the team we are this year without a point guard the way he runs the show for us. He's a coach on the floor. We've said that all year.
He can have a really good game and score no points, or he can have a really good game and score 11 like he did tonight.
Absolutely. And I think he had all 11 in the first half.
Yep.
But, like last night, he played a great game and didn't score a point.
Yep.
So we need him at any facet that we get him. We need him. He handles the ball for us. He always guards the best offensive player that's a guard on the other team. He just does a lot of little things for us, and Bodie Wolford, a big night scoring tonight. Glad to see him get, continue that effort. He's been our leading scorer the last few games here. So we just need to continue that. And obviously, we're a team that's a sum of their parts. We got to continue sharing the basketball and everybody do that, do their part to make this team be successful.
We're 15-5 at the moment. 2 big games next week. Talk about county rivals. We go south and take on Gallia Tuesday night. We'll go north and take on Ross County with Chillicothe coming Friday night.
Not going to be easy, but, hey, it's obviously our schedule hopefully sets us up. That's, our RPI, says it. It's a good schedule, strength of schedule. Opponent, strength of schedule has been good. So we just got to kind of keep the momentum going into the tournament, season. We'll know tomorrow for sure, but hopefully, if we get these 2 games next week and just play hard, keep the momentum, because then we could have a week off. You never know. So
I think this team could use that.
We probably could. We probably could. So I also got to mention, great leadership again. Every time we're in a huddle, Garrett Legg, senior, he does a lot of little things that people don't see.
This weekend,
he does a lot of things for us that are unsung. If you look in the box score, it doesn't always show up that his stats are huge, but he does a lot of little things well for us, and we desperately need him.
6 days, it will be Garrett Legg night. It'll be senior night here.
He deserves that.
Comes to town.
He's been a great player and just a great person for this team. A great young man for leadership too.
Coach, congratulations! Good win tonight.
I appreciate it.
Get the guys healthy.
We need a well-deserved day off. We need a day off tomorrow, and we're going to have to see what practice comes Monday. We'll see how light we can go, but we still got to get ready for Gallia.
We'll get back at it. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Max Morrow picking up a victory tonight as he defeats the Waverly Tigers 59-45. Pete Wilson's got stats ready to go. Pete, there are some interesting numbers from this game.
Right. Well, the most interesting win, of course, was the final score, 59-45. The fact that it is Jackson's 15th win of the season against only 5 losses. And, hopefully paired with that Washington Courthouse road victory last night that secured what we think is the number 2 seed in the tournament. Hopefully a sign of more things to come as the Jackson Ironman finish the regular season next week and then head to the tournament the week after. Okay, let's look at the individual scoring. Once again, a good offensive game for the Ironmen, 59 points, a little bit above their average, I think. Offense was there tonight, especially there in the first half when they put 34 on the board. Leading the way was Bodie Wolford. I tell you what an effort by him. Not only 21 points, but the fact that he got to the foul line 15 times, made 9 of them. He had to. That indicates that he was taking the ball to the hoop. He was successful in doing that. He hit 6 of 8, by the way, in field goal shots.
Well, I could say this honestly, Pete. We've watched a lot of basketball this winter. Is there one of the very best 6'2" players within the lane? He is so effective in the lane and so strong, and he makes those free throws come his way.
Right, and when you get 15 free throws, you've worked hard to get them, and there's probably a few more he could have shot.
He freely said he's tired.
Well,
he's earned it. He earned being tired.
Well, see if.
Love is in the air, and Main Street TV wants to treat you and your Valentine to something special. Enter our Table for Two Valentine's Day contest for a chance to win big. Here's how to join. Go to our Facebook page, like and share our post, and comment with a picture of you and your Valentine. The photo with the most likes will win an amazing prize pack, including VIP passes to Southern Rock Woodstock. Plus, you'll join us live on our February 14th cooking show. Hurry, the deadline to enter is February 10th at 4 p.m. Main Street TV, your community, your story.
Hi, I'm Corbin Wilbur, back again with your 3-day weather forecast. So, on Tuesday, February 11th, we have 100% snow and rain showers with a high of 33 degrees and a low of 31. Not much difference there. Even less difference on Wednesday, February 12th, we have 50% rain showers with a high of 41 and a low of 41. And on Thursday, we have 40% snow and rain with a high of 39 and a low of 19. So, getting pretty cold, but we're breaking through a bit on the 41. And don't forget an umbrella. And anyway, stay dry.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. And we are here with Pete with the news. So what do you got for us today, Pete?
Okay. Well, I tell you what. I looked out the front window here just before we came on the air, and indeed it is snowing.
Yes,
the snow has arrived, and we are under, in case you haven't heard, a winter weather advisory. I've kind of noticed the flurries starting about 8 a.m. here in Jackson, at least. And it looks like, and I know we just heard from Corbin on the weather, but the very, very latest, it looks like it's pretty much going to snow all day. We're predicted to have, 2 to 4 inches of snow, and it is sticking on some of the surfaces out there for sure. So we'll certainly be watching that if you're out and about today. I know a lot of people went to work or whatever, maybe before it started to snow. So on your commute back home, or if you're out and about during the day, do be careful. Right now, we're not under any level advisories or whatever, but I kind of look for that to happen. So if you're in a situation where you're in and you don't have to go out, you might just wait it out. We're going to have a little bit warmer temperatures in a day or two, so we'll maybe get rid of the snow. But we had 2 impacts on school today. One was the snow, of course. Some of the districts called off because they expected to have snow during a period when students would be arriving, and when it's time for them to go home, there's even going to be more snow. But there is another factor, which we're probably aware of if we communicate with many others. We know there's a lot of sickness going around.
Yes, unfortunately.
And we have the Jackson, Wellston, Oak Hill, Vinton County, CLA, I presume Hope Haven, Buckeye Hills Career Center, all the Head Starts in Jackson, Vinton counties, they are all closed. And in the cases of Jackson, Wellston, Vinton County, it was mentioned when they announced that they were closing school. It's not just because of the snow, it's because of sickness in the schools. We're talking about a lot of staff and students that are sick. And we know anecdotally, just from talking to people, there's a lot of flu going around, maybe more than one type of flu, and there's a lot of stomach virus. I'm sure there's a lot of colds and sinuses, too, that are making people not feel their best as well, and it's really spreading. I understand that in Jackson yesterday, I believe the superintendent put this information out just so people knew how bad it was. 47 teachers were out.
Wow.
That is a lot, and they don't, it's hard to get subs and all, so it's really impacting the schools for sure, because I'm sure all of them are affected to a high degree as well. Now at Jackson, I know what they were going to do today, and they saw the snow coming too. They knew that might be a factor in attendance, and if they had to leave earlier or come late, they're doing sanitation at the schools to try to make it as clean as possible so those germs won't be spread and this disease won't continue. We saw a lot of that with the COVID several years ago on the prevention attempts and so forth. But aside from the weather, we have other news to tell you about, some big news. At the Wellston City Board of Education last night, the superintendent of the district, Dr. Brian Rao is his name, his resignation was accepted. And there he is right there, Dr. Rao. We've had him on Main Street TV, and we've also, of course, at the Telegram and the radio worked with him too. He's honestly been, from a news standpoint, dealing with the media, he has been very proactive, kind, and generous in his dealings, and we certainly appreciate all that he has done and will do during his period in Wellston. But last night at the board meeting, not a lot of explanations as far as what might be going on behind the scenes, but Dr. Rao's current contract expires at the end of this July. He was given a 3-year contract when he came to Wellston. He came to Wellston from the Manchester local school district, which is in Adams County, not too far down the road. And it was about time for his contract to be extended or renegotiated or whatever. For whatever reason, Dr. Rao and the school board decided to disagree on some things, and he submitted his resignation, and it was accepted at the school board meeting last night.
Okay.
There's 5 school board members, and the vote was 3-2 to accept his resignation. Voting to accept his resignation were board president Terry Gill and board members John Jackson and Adam Massey. Board members Roger Rader and Brian Kilgore voted not to accept the resignation. Dr. Rao has issued a statement, which we will share a little bit later, thanking everybody for the support that he's had, saying there's been a lot of good things happening in the Wellston School District. He thanked the community, he thanked the staff, and feels that some good things are happening and have happened at the Wellston School District. But after his contract expires at the end of July, he will no longer be the superintendent. So we can expect the Wellston School Board very soon, if they haven't already thought about it, to launch a search for a new superintendent. This is the main executive for any school board, the superintendent. Very important position. And so they will be launching a search that will start, I'm sure, very, very soon. But that was the big news from the Wellston School Board. And we will have a story in our newspaper, The Telegram. We already have a Facebook post with some basic information, but we will have a more detailed story in tomorrow's paper, and it will be posted on our website, thetelegram.news.com, just a little bit later today. So that is our top headline. Another big headline is, when we were on Main Street TV yesterday, we were talking how successful the Jackson High School competition cheerleaders have been. Remember, for those of you who may not have joined us or knew, they have been in Orlando, Florida the past several days. They got down there late last week, and they had competition both Sunday and Monday. And we knew on Sunday, and we talked about it yesterday here on Main Street TV, that out of 22 schools that they were competing against, 22 different cheerleader squads from all across the country, I suppose, they had qualified to move from the semifinals on Sunday to the finals on Monday. That means that there's 11 squads that get to move ahead. And so they were one of the top 11 squads.
That's amazing.
They had the competition. All the schools that made the finalists competed yesterday. Jackson competed just before noon. And it's only 3 minutes. You can imagine what that is. You do all this practices all year long, and everything that you've worked for is on the line in those 3 minutes. Can you imagine the pressure?
I can't imagine that. That's crazy.
It's a lot of pressure for sure, whether you're 17 years old or 70 years old. And these girls did great. As it turned out, they finished in 3rd place.
That is
How about
amazing.
that?
I'm so proud of
So
them.
they not only made the finals, but they were one of the very top schools. They got medals. There are 30 girls that are on that team.
Wow.
I'm sorry, 29 girls and 1 boy that are on that team.
Yes.
And I tell you what, I want to go ahead and mention their names because they deserve a lot of credit.
They do.
Obviously,
Yes.
we have had coverage, and we will have wrap-up coverage in our Wednesday paper, and we'll have it
great.
online, some pictures and so forth. But the team is coached. The squad, the competition cheerleaders, that's boys and girls grades 9 through 12, are coached by Courtney Butcher and Tiffany Boggs. And the members of the team are, and I believe they'll be coming back to Jackson today, I'm sure, flying up. Abby Baker, Abby Barnett, Addison Daly, Elena Stockmeister, Alexis Hellman, Braylon Lyons, Brayley Sturgill, Bren Denny, Bren McGee, Bren Tripp, Brenly Smalley, Cannon Stifler, that's the young man, Daisy Howard, Emily Wiggins, Hannah Pennington, Izzy Swisher, Jada Montgomery, Kirsten Snyder, Kinsley Leach, Lexi Butcher, Maddie McElfresh, Madison Robbins, Mackenzie Lizon, McKinley Riley, Olivia Rogers, Olivia Taylor, Presley Leach, Addie Shear, Sophie Williams, and Taylor Williams.
Wow.
So we certainly want to congratulate those
Yes,
girls and
congratulations.
the young man, Candace Stifler, and the coaches for what they did. They had won state competitions before during their so-called competition season.
Yes.
That qualified them to go to this national competition. It was called the Universal Cheerleaders Association National School Cheerleader Championship. Now, our Jackson cheerleaders have been to Florida before for national competitions, but this is considered the top association. The top cheerleading squads go to this particular competition. And so, you know, they weren't sure how they would stack up, but as it turned out, they stacked up as one of the very best. So they deserve a lot of credit for this.
They sure do.
Okay, thank you very much for allowing me to say their names, and we'll have that coverage in there. I want to focus now on a story that our editorial assistant Alex Shope wrote about dairy farms. This story was in our paper last Saturday, and it's still posted. So you can pick up a paper or check the website. That might be the easier thing to do right now. But there's a former Jackson High School graduate and Jackson County resident. I believe she lives in Pike County now, but she's got lots of local connections. Her name is Glenna Frances Gipser Warner. She wrote a book about, there she is right there. She is just a delightful lady.
Aww.
I suggested we can get her on Main Street TV, and I
Yes.
think we're trying to make a connection to get her here.
Yes.
And if
Very
you get to
beautiful
interview
lady.
her, or Jennifer gets to interview, it'd be so easy because she'll
Yes.
tell the story. She's so excited, and so about anything she does. But Glenna wrote a book entitled Dairy Farms of Jackson County, Ohio, from 1900 to the present. Now, you don't think in this modern day era about local dairy farms, but there used to be tons of them. That's how you got your milk. They didn't have these big dairy farm combines that served big areas. Currently, there are 2 dairy farms left in Jackson County.
Wow.
The Gilliland family,
Only 2.
and we have a photo or 2 from there. I think, Jimmy, if you put that up, isn't that a beautiful? That's
beautiful.
down in Hamilton Township. We wrote a
Yes.
separate story about that.
Yes.
But that farm is down in Hamilton Township off of State
Gorgeous.
Route 139, and it's a family, multi-generational farm. Roger Gilland is the main dairy farmer there, but other family members are involved. And we did a story several years ago when he was honored by some dairy manufacturers and suppliers. But anyway, the Roger Gilland farm is just one of the dairy farms there is Roger, by the way, seated there with a clock that he received and also a framed certificate for his many years of dairy farming. And he's still going. He's done it for many, many years. But this book is, I'm a history buff anyway.
Yes.
And sometimes, we learn about the national history, even world history. We learn about a little bit about the state, but sometimes the local history gets overlooked. Well, this is a story. This is a book that Glenna has written. It's out now. It's available on Amazon through Kindle and like that. And there's going to be a book signing on Saturday the 22nd at the Jackson City Library where you can get hard copies of this book.
amazing.
And she'll sign it for you. But I've not read it yet. I'm going to get my own copy.
Yes.
But you can find all about the dairy farm. She meant to write just an article for Bob Irvin's next history book, and there was so much information, she wrote her own book.
Which is amazing.
So from a person who does some writing myself, but it's usually much shorter, not a book, I'm not sure I'd want to take that on. I very much respect anybody that takes that on. And
Definitely.
so I urge you to, get a copy of that book, or at least check out our story to get a little bit of background, and then you may be interested and want that book for sure.
Definitely.
So, a couple other things we want to tell you about before our time runs out. Last night there was a public hearing at Jackson City Council. I covered that meeting. And there is a new zoning regulation and map that's going in effect for the city of Jackson if it gets approved by city council. Right now, it seems like they think that's a good idea. The zoning rules in the city of Jackson have not been changed since 1983, so they figured it was time to do that. However, if people, businesses, property owners, general public want to learn more about the new zoning laws, and if they agree with it, you just have to get on the City of Jackson's website. Go under City Council, look for the drop down that says zoning regulations. You can see the old zoning code that's in effect now and the new zoning code that will go in effect if it gets approved. So if you're interested, I urge you to do that. There'll be some other news coming out of that council meeting too that we might tell you about later. But some things coming on later in the week we want to mention really quickly. Vinton County High School is going to have parent-teacher conferences this Thursday from 3:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m., right after school hours. This is a lot of times parents do not take the opportunity to learn about, how their child is doing and whether he or she is doing good and what they can do to be better. This is an opportunity where the teachers are there and you can go one-on-one with your teacher. Now, if you want to do that in the Vinton County School District, for the high school level, just call the school office at 740-596-5258. And they will make sure that you have an appointment to see a teacher during that time. Also, some families will be contacted by teachers to set up an appointment where they feel, there is a need for one. So that is coming up. Also, the Buckeye Hills Career Center is going to have an adult education open house. We think about the Buckeye Hills Career Center and the kids that go there, the high school age kids, to learn not necessarily a trade, but vocational type education. Well, they also do adult education. Some people overlook that down at the Buckeye Hills. They're going to have an open house to kind of promote what they do with their adult education division. It's going to be this Thursday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Okay. Great opportunity to learn about the adult education programs there at Buckeye Hills. Visitors that go to the open house, they can ask questions, take a tour of the campus, talk about financial aid, how to get enrolled, and see all the different offerings they have in their adult education program. Also, we want to promote this. We'll be talking more about it later. The high school plays are getting set. The spring plays. At Oak Hill, they're going to be doing Frozen Junior. The big Disney thing, Frozen?
Yes.
They're going to do Frozen Junior at Oak Hill, March 14th to 16th on the weekend. We'll tell you more details there. At Wellston High School, they're going to do the famous story Alice in Wonderland. Have you heard of that one?
Oh, yes, I love it.
Okay, great story. Lewis Carroll. Alice in Wonderland Jr. is going to be done March 14th, 15th, and 16th, same weekend at Wellston High School. And at Jackson High School, of course, we have a soft spot for this. They're going to do, the drama club is going to do the high-energy musical entitled Newsies. Have you heard of Newsies?
I may have, yes.
Well, it is a big Broadway hit about history of newspapers, how some newsboys back in the 19th century went on strike or for more money, felt like they weren't getting paid enough, and it became a great Broadway play.
Yes, I do know that one, yeah.
Based on a true story. And that is going to be the weekend in late March, as a matter of fact. I don't have the dates, but it's going to be, I think, maybe the next weekend after the Oak Hill and Wellston plays. So, so much we've just covered. We have more to cover tomorrow.
Yes.
So we're going to be here tomorrow?
Yes, I will.
Okay, well, I will come back with more news, and we don't know what else is going to happen. And when I go out there, I'll look out the window and make sure it's still snowing.
Yeah, I hope it does stop snowing, guys, for all of our sakes. But is there anything else?
No, that is it.
Okay.
Just be careful out there if you have to be out,
please.
all right?
Yeah. Well, thank you, Pete, for coming in and telling us the news. And thank you to the choir director, Ashlyn, for coming in. It was very pleasure to having you. And I hope you guys have a great morning and a great rest of your day. Thank you.